Hello and welcome to another speed paint. I was not alive when the original series aired, but my parents were, and I inherited a love of Star Trek from them, including a love for Lieutenant Nyota Uhura. Lieutenant Uhura, played by Nichelle Nichols, is the communications officer on the Enterprise. I've always admired the way the character holds her own on a ship run mostly by men, where she was respected and valued for her skills and insights. I learned recently that Nichols was considering leaving the show after the first year, and it was actually none other than Martin Luther King Jr., who asked her to stay on because of how important her character's role was to him, to his family, to the nation, and really the world. Uhura was, at the time, one of the few black characters on TV that wasn't reduced to a stereotype. I'm glad that Nichols stayed on for many reasons, but particularly because she would inspire engineer Mae Jemison, who I will be painting in the future, to become the first black female astronaut. The reference image I chose for Uhura has an expression that is very challenging to draw and paint. I struggled a lot with the initial sketch for this one, but I knew that this was the reference I wanted to use. Whether this is a behind the scenes image or one from the show, I really loved how joyful Uhura's face was. Star Trek tends to tackle some pretty serious topics, but it also does a good job of capturing these universal human experiences as well, like laughing and smiling and humor. So I felt like this reference image was fitting. When I get the sketch to a point where I feel pretty okay about it, what I've been doing is copying that layer, dropping the opacity of the reference image, and then overlaying the sketch on top of the reference to check how my sketch is looking. That gives me a really good jumping off point to see what I need to adjust in the sketch before I move on to the next step. The difficulty of this expression, mixed with the 1 hour time constraint, did, however, mean that the face on this piece isn't quite right, which at the time of recording, now that I haven't looked at it for a while, is obvious now. But does it still look like Uhura? Yes, it does. Ideally, in a situation where I am not constrained by an hour to work on something, especially like a full portrait painting like this, I will walk away from my desk for a while and come back with fresh eyes. Not looking at what you're working on for a few minutes, an hour, a day, any amount of time where you could walk away and like forget what you were doing lets your brain kind of reset, and when you come back to the piece, you are much more easily able to identify what's working and what's not working, and then you can make corrections from there. And speaking of tricking the human brain, Uhura's hair was actually really simple to do. It's actually just a big flat piece of color that I put down for the most part. And once I got the silhouette that I wanted, all I really needed to do to give it volume was add a few strategic highlights here and there. The brain does a great job of filling in what the rest of the volume of the hair would look like. And I'm happy as an artist to avoid feeling like I have to draw every single hair on someone's head. And here she is, Lieutenant Nyota Uhura from Star Trek The Original Series. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.